What's happening in the stock market right now with all of this crazy volatility where the market is now in an official correction all comes down to this chart right here potentially. Take a look at this. S&P 500 midterm election year declines and recoveries. So every 4 years we have a midterm election. Right now 2026 is a midterm election year. If you take a look at the max drawdown going literally all the way back to 1950, and this is every 4 years on this chart right here. The max drawdown in each midterm election year is usually kind of high. There's usually a lot of volatility. And the average of that volatility on the downswing averages out to be roughly 16%. Now, if we take a look at the charts right now and see where the heck we are at in this crazy year, NASDAQ right now from all time highs to where it's at right now is down 11.4%. A lot of volatility, a lot of people freaking out, a lot of people panicking. But again, if we take a look at this chart right here, is it really anything uncommon? We're actually less than common right now. Usually the market falls a little bit more. We are only down 11%. Usually it's 16%. So there could be more downswings in the market from here. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to fearmonger you. I'm going to lay out my whole thesis for the market right now, updated for this recording right here, because a lot of stuff is changing right now. But what I'm telling you is that the bottom might not be in yet. We still might have maybe 5, 10, 15, even 20% lower to go. But if you could keep your pants on, keep your emotions in check, continue to allocate on the way down, average down, lower your cost basis, get into some option plays, sell some portfolio secure puts when it makes sense, keep your ratios in check, buy some calls, keep your ratios in check when it makes sense to do it. If we look forward 1 year from right now, do you notice the 1 year forward return is typically green every single time? The average forward return, roughly 1 year from when this volatility happens, is about 36%. 36% is very, very strong. That's a big return in the market, especially if you allocate right now potentially. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at all the data. I'm going to lay out a thesis for you of where to allocate, how much to allocate, and exactly how to keep your pants on in this volatility because it's freaking crazy out there. Every day it's like, we're going to make a deal with Iran. We're not going to make a deal with Iran. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, we have a deal with Iran, but then 2 days later, the deal might be off. There's just craziness out there. And the market's always going to be crazy. The market's always going to have volatility, but we simply have to keep our pants on, keep our emotions in check, and be logical investors that capitalize when it makes sense to capitalize. So take a look at this chart right here. You guys know that fundamentals drive the market in the long term. In the short term, it's fear, it's greed, and it's emotion. But in the long term, the fundamentals are going to win every single time. So what do the fundamentals look like in the stock market right now? The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the forward price earnings ratio level for the S&P 500, for the Mag 7, for some small cap and some mid cap too. Take a look at this chart right here. So obviously as the market's been falling, it's been getting cheaper and safer and more compelling and lower on a price earnings ratio level basis. You guys know that I always do my water bottle example to talk to you about how to conceptualize this in your head, but we're going to use a mouse right now. This mouse right here, we're going to say is a business, okay? Right now for the S&P 500, you're going to pay $19.70 for this mouse right here, and it's going to throw off $1 per year in profit. But just a few months ago, that's right here, the red line. Just a few months ago, you were going to pay $23 for that mouse and still get the same $1 per year in profit. So $23 versus $19.70 right now. So the point is, you're getting more bang for your buck right now. You're getting more value for less money. That's exactly what we want to do in the stock market. But of course, when we're getting this volatility, people are freaking out. Tensions are flaring. The market's been going up and to the right the last few years. People are just like, dude, I don't know what to do in this volatile event. I don't know how to capitalize. I'm all leveraged out to the wazoo. I'm getting smoked right now. That's what's happening with most people. NASDAQ all-time high right now is down 11%. My main Schwab account's down like 12%. I show it almost every day on this channel. I'm down in a similar amount as the overall NASDAQ. But what's going to happen is the market is eventually going to rebound. Believe it or not, the market's going to rebound. We're going to hit new all-time highs at some point. I expect some sort of Nike swoosh recovery. And when I'm allocating and capitalizing down here, when there's fear out there in the market, the shares that I'm getting on sale, these discounts, these employees, which I consider my shares to be employees that I'm getting on sale down here, the more employees and shares that I could get at these discounted levels, the harder that they're going to rebound on this Nike swoosh recovery that I think that we're going to get. The problem again right now is that people hate to buy when there's red out there. They hate to buy when there's fear. But that is when the big money is made. You could go watch any video of Warren Buffett, even though a lot of people hate on Warren Buffett. When there is blood in the streets and when there is fear out there, that is the time to be greedy. Now, how greedy should we actually be? I'm not going to say to bet the house right now because this is not the time to do that. The valuation level that the Mag 7's at and the S&P 500 and small cap and mid cap, they're definitely more reasonable right now, but they are by no means table pounder opportunities. I view this overall stock market as somewhere around 5% below intrinsic value. So if you have a 5+ year time horizon and you want to allocate right now, I think you're probably going to do very, very good. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, but the future prospects now after this dip in the market look very, very strong going forward. And it's not really just because of the dip that we got for why this market is actually cheaper, safer, and more compelling. You guys have to understand that we have to draw the earnings per share growth line. And this is what the earnings per share growth line is actually doing, somewhere along this in this 1 year chart right here. So as the market is falling, yes, it's technically 11% cheaper, but guess what is increasing in that time frame right there? The earnings per share, the profits. And if we take a look at this, we throw this on a chart, how much did the profits actually increase in this time frame right here? Somewhere around 8% for the NASDAQ. Roughly 16% is the expected earnings per share growth of what we got and what we're expected to get going forward. So the market is actually double cheaper, double safer, and double more compelling. And when you add these two numbers together right here, it's 11% cheaper because the market fell, but it's also 8% cheaper because profits went up by 8%. So the market is naturally 20% more compelling right now than what it was at all-time highs. And I don't want to confuse you with that, but as profits are growing, the market's going to follow these profits up into the right in the long term. And at the same time of profits growing, the actual index is falling. So it's two lines just converging with each other, and it's making more deals, more opportunities, and more things to capitalize on. So the longer that this thing drags out for, the more bullish that I'm going to naturally get because profits are growing. Profits are going up and to the right. And the market's going to follow that. So if we take a look right now, and I just sent this newsletter out today, it's 100% free. If you want to get it, click the link in the bio. But if we take a look at the Fear Greed Index, we're literally at a level of 10 right now. People are freaking out. They're panicking. They do not know what to do with their portfolios right now. The Fear Greed Index is literally at levels we haven't seen since April of 2025. And guess what the market did from April of 2025 to right now? I'm not saying this is going to be a V-shaped recovery like that, but even with this dip that we had, the market's still up 35% from April. And to the all-time high, the market went up 56%. That is a freaking face ripper rally. So I'm definitely not betting against this market, and I'm starting to allocate bullishly right here. And I'm going to talk to you about it in just a second of exactly how I'm actually allocating. So to build on this thesis a little bit more, the right now could be a really good time to start allocating. Not a generational wealth building opportunity, but a pretty good time to start allocating if you have a long duration horizon. Take a look at this market momentum indicator right here. You could clearly see that the orange line right here is the 125-day moving average in the stock market. You could clearly see April, when it fell quite a ways below it, the future returns were great. When a market's above it, hey, maybe the market's a little bit hot right here. But now that the market's below it and profits continue to go up and to the right, there's a disconnect right there. And we'll take a look at this on the chart right here. So one of two things is basically guaranteed to happen. I'm going to plot the earnings per share growth line. It's somewhere along this line right here. I'll have to do two of them because the earnings did drop in this time frame right here in 2022. But now it looks something like this. So I expect earnings per share to continue and go up and to the right like this. But the market's going down. So again, the market should rebound and follow this earnings per share up and to the right. That is my base case. That is my 95% chance of what I think the market's actually going to do. But in the rare event that the earnings per share actually does fall, the profits go down, and it looks something along the lines of this right here, the market's going to be correct right now to go down, and it's going to keep going down as time goes on because profits dictate where the actual index is going to go in the long term. That is a hands down number one thing. Now, do I actually think that's going to happen? Maybe it could happen in the short term. A little bit of bumps of earnings per share. Maybe the price of oil drives, inflation up. Maybe interest rates go up a little bit. Maybe airlines do bad, but maybe oil companies do good. Overall, tech earnings probably aren't going to be impacted that much. So my overall thesis is that earnings per share is still going to be very good. We're about to get Q1 earnings that start to roll in. I'm expecting good numbers from most companies, and at least the companies that move the needle. I'm expecting good numbers from them. And, the guidance is probably going to be good too, meaning the forward earnings for Q2 going forward in Q3 and Q4 and the rest of 2026. I'm expecting good numbers. But if we take a look right here and we zoom this chart all the way out and we take a look at where the market has actually went since 2009, clearly up and to the right. I don't have to show you this stuff, guys. What you do have to understand is that there's going to be bumps along the way. There's going to be volatility. And the train might get derailed sometimes. But when has a train never got back on the tracks? And when has a train never pushed forward of Train America? Train 100 companies in the NASDAQ pushing forward. The train of 500-ish companies in the S&P 500 on balance pushing forward. When you invest in that stuff and you give it time and you're patient and you allocate when things are on sale and you lean into it a little bit more with stock options, you're likely to do very, very well in the long term. But you don't have to overtrade. You don't have to make a decision about something every single day when the market goes up or down 1%. It's just day-to-day volatility. And Mr. Market is just crazy, irrational, manic depressive, and just doesn't know how to price this stuff in. So short-term volatility in the market should be viewed as opportunity. Because right now, the economy is honestly in pretty good shape. Right now, the labor market's okay. Right now, revenue growth is strong. Corporate profits are strong. Inflation's still below 2% if you look at the Trueflation data. Yes, again, there's going to be bumps along the way, but the profits are strong, and the profits are what drive the market higher. Take a look at this chart right here. S&P 500 forward earnings. You can see we're about 15% right here for forward earnings growth year over year. It's pretty freaking strong if you ask me, right? Really good. So when you have earnings growth that's this strong, and you have a market valuation that is now resetting to this lower and more fair level, the market is likely to have pretty good future expected returns from this price earnings ratio level based on the totality of the data. So what I'm allocating to is what I always allocate to. Great companies at good prices. Only do options when it makes sense to do it because options are just leverage. Options are not the primary strategy. Options are a tool where if some company comes across my desk as extremely compelling, I will then go buy shares of that company. If I'm really bullish, I will then go sell puts on the company. And if I'm super duper bullish, I will then go buy calls on that company. That's a hierarchy of how I allocate in a bullish way. But my overall objective is to get more quantity of shares in my portfolio that could then go compound forever for me and my son when I die and pass it on to him. And just using options to generate some cash flow from selling puts and to capture some more appreciation by buying call options. And I funnel all those profits and cash flow into more shares, into more of the base portfolio, which is heavy in the S&P 500, heavy in the NASDAQ, and heavy-ish in individual companies that are great companies with a moat, with pricing power, with a durable competitive advantage, and of course, a very good valuation level. Because you know my analogy is usually with the water bottle, but today it's the mouse. A good company does not mean it's a good investment. You need to get a good company at a good price to make it a good investment. Because if I were to tell you I'll sell you this mouse right now for $50,000, you don't want it, even though it might be a good mouse. But if I tell you this mouse is $5, hey, you're going to want it. So you can see that that dynamic right there actually matters in the real world. So start thinking like an investor, extend your time horizon, and don't look at your toes right now in the investing world. You don't have to refresh your account 14 times a day. Just allocate, forget about it, and ensure that the way that you're allocating, especially with options, you're never going to get a margin call, you're never going to get wiped out, and you're never going to get caught in a situation where you have to close out your bullish positions when the market capitulates and goes down more, if it does. Because that is the exact wrong time to close out bullish plays. You want to be holding on to your bullish plays when things are cheap because the future expected returns from that point are usually very, very good. So, hope you got value here. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the hype button. Do all the good stuff if you want to do it. If not, all good. But definitely go check out this playlist right here. All about stock options. It's about 20 videos in there that I handpicked that I think you're going to get a lot of value from. Check it out. See you guys in the next one.